Hey guys, Tomboy601, and today we have a review of the Tiger 59, the newest premium ship to come to World of Warships Legends. Oh boy, is we'll get into it. We'll go ahead and talk about my build, the mods, best strategy, show off a game in it, do all of that, and guys, it's quite a doozy and not in the best way, but I like it a little, which is weird, but I don't recommend you would probably want to purchase it. Anyways, just to get disclosure out of the way, Wargaming did provide me this ship for review. Just want to make that clear. So there is that wonderful, nice disclosure. So with all that said, let's go ahead and talk about the commander that we've put on this ship, because that's going to kind of dictate the rest of everything. And I am actually running the one that I have gone with is a little guy known as Hot Rod. Yeah, one of the Transformers commanders has been my go-to, and it's mainly because I don't want to mess up any of my other British cruiser people, and because Hot Rod is solely about using the radar, and that is the best feature of the Tiger, is its radar consumable. So build for that, and then also don't destroy the other builds to kind of make them work for the Tiger. As inspirations, we are running William Tennant to reduce damage to your Citadel because you have a big one and it's going to get slapped. And then also Makawa to help with concealment, because British ships tend to be stealthy. Tiger is a especially stealthy British ship, so why not buff that? Then as far as the other skills go, we have Ingenious, Full Speed Ahead, Prescience, Precision. Basically, it's his unique skill. It's going to decrease air detectability range and increase the radar's duration. And then we're going to be running Steer Clear and Fully Packed. And of course, the base trait is Cognizant, which is also something that's going to boost that radar duration. So it's all about keeping that radar up. And that's kind of the whole thing with Hot Rod and using it on Tiger. If you don't have Hot Rod, I would recommend running Frazier. I ran him to some success. Right now I have the guise of McMordoff on him, but I think Frazier pairs well with Tiger, if not also Belfast pairs well with Tiger. I've had success with all three, but as far as getting an optimal build and one that I'll be happy to leave on Tiger, I'm running Hot Rod just because I've built this uniquely compared to a bunch of my other British ships, so I don't want to really mess with the what is special. Let's go ahead and take a look at the mods. First, in mod slot 1, we are running aiming system mod 1. Then we are running steering gears mod 2. And then we are running the concealment mod in mod slot 3. Everything kind of fairly obvious about that. The concealment mod, once again, stealthy ship, we want to make it a little bit more stealthy. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at those consumables. And this is one of the strengths of Tiger 59. It is a fully loaded ship. It has all consumables kind of loaded. First one is going to be the damage control party. 5-second duration, 60-second reload time, what we know and love. We do have fully packed over on Hot Rod, which is going to work to our benefit. So we have a very strong repair party. It's one of the super repair parties that helps heal back a certain percentage of your Citadel hit, which usually you wouldn't get back, but you do with some select British ships, and this is one of those select British ships. 661 health per second on the regen, 20 seconds duration with a reload time of 60 seconds, and you're going to get 3 charges. You also get 3 smokes. It's going to last for 15 seconds, disperse for 103 seconds, and reload in 240 seconds. And then finally, in the last slot, you have a choice between an 8.5 kilometer radar, which is super useful, or and that radar is going to have a 26.3 second duration with our current build, reload in 168.3 seconds, and have 3 charges. Or you can run Enhanced AA, which I don't really hate because the ship does have a decent AA system. So that is one of the options you can absolutely go for and not be a complete crazy person. But I think you build the ship for the radar because it's its unique trait. Next, let's go ahead and get into those stats. HP of the ship, 33,100 with an armor thickness between 13 and 101 millimeters. Let's go ahead and take a look at that armor. And you do have a 25 millimeter bow, which, hey, is thicker than a lot of the British bows, other than Edinburgh. It has one of the thicker bows at the tier. That's a battleship grade bow at the tier. Not that it's going to help you when you get up tier to tier 7 games and you get in 16-inch guns find their way through. But hey, you have a technical battleship grade bow, which sounds nice, but it really doesn't do much for you. Then you have a ginormous superstructure at with 13 millimeters of armor. The deck armor is going to be between 25 and 27 millimeters. You do have a nice little section of additional armor on the side that's up to 83 millimeters. Very difficult to get to angle correctly to get like people to hit there, but if you can get that little wiggle in to get hit right there at the precise angle to bounce, that little plate of armor will help you. But if you get it wrong, well, you have the Citadel that is sitting out of the water, and it will go boom, and it will not feel good, and you will go back to port. That is all. But yeah, guys, that's the armor. It's not the greatest overall. It's serviceable. Serviceable, not even that. It's a little rough. It's a British light cruiser. Thank God you have the super heals, and thank God if you run fully packed, you can get 3 of them, so you can kind of stay a lot longer than your tonnage should suggest. Torpedo reduction on the ship, by the way, you're going to be at 4%. Next, let's go to the star of the stats, which is the main battery, but not really, because, well, it's not like you have torpedoes or any other sort of offensive measure here. So you have two-barreled 152 millimeter guns with a firing range of 14.7 kilometers, a reload time of 3.2 seconds, giving you 75 shells per minute. And the highlight on these things, a 4.5 second 180 time. They are lightning quick, and I love them for it. And this is the best trait of the whole ship, right there. And I just told you turret traverse is the best trait of a ship, and that should be a red flag for you. AP damage, 3,200, giving you a DPM of 240,000. There are no secondaries on this ship. There are no torpedoes on this ship, so we don't have any of those stats to cover. We do, though, have a pretty decent AA. 6 kilometer range, 47 minimum damage, and we'll go up to 165, which is pretty decent for the tier. It's no Cheshire, but it does put a pretty significant hurting on the planes. Max speed of the vessel, 31.5 knots, so fairly maneuverable with a turning radius of 590 meters, and it does maintain speed while maneuvering, which is nice. Not that you should be kiting with this ship, but it does maintain its speed while maneuvering. Rudder shift time, 6 seconds. Finally, the concealment. Detectability by sea, 9.4 kilometers, which is pretty good. Detectability by air, 5.3 kilometers. And detectability in smoke, 5.4. Once again, remember that 5.3 kilometers on the air is because we have that 10% boost to air concealment thanks to Hot Rod's unique skill. So those are all of the stats. Let's now go into a match with this, and you guys can see Tiger in action. Okay, so here we are on Estuary, and we're going to have a fun little game on it, but let's go ahead and talk about Tiger 59 first. Oh boy. So here's the thing. Do I think you should purchase this ship? Probably not. No. It is extremely hard to play, and it just feels like it is missing something to it. It just does not perform very great a lot of the time. It is a very high concealment, a very fun ship when you can get it to work right, but the majority of the time you won't be able to get it to work right, just because if people decide to counter you, you are fairly easily countered, and there's not much you can do about it. Honestly, I feel like Tiger is one of those ships that could either need to be down tiered 1, like it needs to be a tier 5 in its current form, or it needs love in some other way, either being adding torpedoes to it or decreasing the reload on the main guns further. But beyond that, it is something that struggles to do damage to tier 7s, especially battleships. It is a ship that is very much specialized in hunting down destroyers and countering cruisers close up, but assuming those cruisers are broadside, because if they're not broadside, they just aren't that great. Anyways, we've gone ahead and kind of come off the site here. We knew we were going to eventually get spotted by a ship. Once we were spotted for a little bit, the nice 8.5 kilometer radar, we went ahead and popped. And the nice thing about, one of the great things about Tiger is that turret traverse speed, and this is one of the reasons it pairs well with extending your radar, is because if you end up popping a ship and you find out that a ship is somewhere where you weren't expecting it, because of that really quick turret traverse speed, you are able just to flip around and start shooting at them. And yes, you have a limited time with your main guns going, but you are able to lock onto them so much quicker, it feels like, than any other ship, just because you're at destroyer levels of turret traverse compared to any of the other British light cruisers. Anyways, we're going to go ahead, kind of sit in our smoke here, let the battle develop. We want to be kind of in this mid-range where no one's close enough to see us when we're in our smoke and firing, but we are far enough away that we can kind of use cover and sneak out and, you know, not be directly engaged, because Tiger does not have the greatest armor. We saw it does technically have a battleship grade bow for tier 6, but there's a Friesland over there, which means this is a tier 7 match, which means there are most likely some big guns. Anyways, Friesland is kind of blind firing, or he's firing at one of our teammates, and he has a relatively quick fire rate, so we are going to try to start firing and blind firing into the smoke, and we're starting to see a little bit of success here and there. Guns on the Tiger, they are fairly quick on the reload, around 3 seconds, and we actually just realized we're not even in our smoke anymore, but no one can spot us. Friesland trying to return the favor of the fire onto us, but he isn't able to hit us there. But yeah, Tiger like has a decent fire rate, but it's British AP, which is decent, and I do enjoy the British AP, but it just doesn't feel versatile enough with only 4 shells going down range, right? Every other British light cruiser has significantly more kind of barrels, right? Every other one has significantly more barrels at the tier. So even though it may take a little bit longer, the sheer alpha strike in your DPM is much higher, I feel like, in all of the other British light cruisers, and you just kind of have to pray that your shells are accurate, and if they're not, well, too bad for you. Anyways, Friesland is out of his smoke, Zara is out of his smoke, and we can see that there is just a clump of enemies coming around the corner there. Our left-hand flank chased off their side of people and are kind of pushing them into a black hole. We're going to go ahead and reposition just because we know that we want to get those crossfires. That is what Tiger is good at. We're going to go ahead and take the moment to disengage, get away from everyone. Maybe if we can finish off this Friesland, try to, but we're no longer being spotted. No one else has a line of sight on us. We kind of dropped range from the Tsar. We're going to try to come around the corner here and just kind of take care of what we need to. I think we may hit our heel relatively soon to get prepped for the rest of this. We get spotted right here because Friesland pops up out behind that island. So we're going to take some evasive maneuver because we see that we are currently being targeted. But, you know, Tiger is Tiger, and it's going to get hit. And here comes those shells. Take a decent little tap right there. We see Belfast. We can give a little bit of a love tap to King George, about to go down. He ends up being finished off by the friendly Weimar. Tiger, like I said, it's a ship of opportunity. It really is. You very much have to be lucky enough to be against a red team that plays like your blue team usually does. And when that does happen, Tiger is great. But 90% of the time, it is not that. The guns just don't have the DPM to really outmatch and outplay a lot. You can absolutely make them work, but it is this ship's only real big offensive trick. And without torpedoes to really protect yourself up close, it's a little rough. If this ship had torpedoes, I think it would be a ton of fun. That lightning fast turret traverse means this thing would be a cap contester, a brawling beast but it doesn't have that, so it struggles when it gets close up. It does tear through destroyers when they are at appropriate ranges. It tears up cruisers when they are at appropriate ranges and broadside. It's just they need to be broadside and you need to be hitting your shots. And sometimes the accuracy can let you down just a little. Anyways, we're coming into the enemy cap. We see our team's been capping it there. We can see 2 British cruisers have decided to kind of park their way in their smoke and have started to smoke up. We are going to go ahead, float just a little bit more, try to get into range. We see we get them into the range of our sonar, and that's exactly what we want to do. We are detected by, I believe, the Belfast sonar, but he has just dropped his sonar, and we still have ours up for 13 seconds, so it's now time for our team to just eliminate these guys. We're getting some beautiful hits on the Belfast right there. Couple of citadels, and that's the beauty. AP, the Tiger does do really, really good AP damage when you have those broadsides on ships. Belfast goes down right there. North Carolina, broadside to us. We'll go ahead, start farming that upper section of the superstructure as we can go ahead and just start farming him away. He's going to drop spot right behind this island, and now we need to kind of start concentrating. We know that there's a Fiji over there. And we know that there's most likely one other ship. We can see our one last teammate down by our base is defending North Carolina, gets spotted again. We still have time in our smoke, and they are more than happy to push into us just because we're the ones who are contesting their base. So it's more on the imperative for them to push to us. We have the area, we have the advantage. Enemy Fiji pops up, he's broadside, so it's time for us to go ahead and switch on over to targets to him. And we are able to flip over relatively quickly. We can see that enemy battleship is pushing up. He's the one spotting that Fiji for us. Sadly, he goes down. North Carolina now almost down to the last bit of its health. So we're going to try finish off the North Carolina. Now that we've eliminated his 16-inch guns, we can kind of rule the sea. Enemy is down to that Friesland that we saw earlier and that Fiji. And we are fairly confident that we can go ahead and win this Fiji, concentrating on the 2 ships that are off to our port side, which gives us plenty of access to his broadside, and we are just going to melt him right here. Couple of quick citadels right here. Goodbye, Fiji. He's taken care of. Now onto the Friesland that we were dealing with earlier, and on to the potential Kraken. We just need to get around this island right here, get a couple of shells to hit. Does he hit that the wreck of his teammate? He doesn't. 1 hit left on the Friesland. Nope, we don't get it, but that is the game. Overall, like I said, Tiger, relatively fun ship, just one that I don't think you should buy. I don't. I think it'll be a fun ship to get in a container by surprise, and you might fall in love with it because you hate it so much. But I wouldn't recommend going out and buying it. Anyways, guys, that's the Tiger. Let me know if you like it. If you do, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. See ya.